So something really strange just showed up in our solar system. It's hurtling along at over 130,000 miles per hour. It came from the direction of a completely different star. And right now, it is one of the biggest mysteries in the entire scientific world. So let's dive in and see if we can figure this out.
Okay, so what is this thing, officially known as 3I/Atlas? Is it just a rock, a comet from some distant sun? Or could it be something else entirely? That's the big question we're going to tackle right now by looking at the hard data and the fierce debate that's kicking off in astronomy.
All right, but before we get into the weeds with Atlas, you gotta know this isn't our first interstellar rodeo. It's actually the third confirmed visitor from outside our solar system that we've ever spotted. And to really get why this new one is causing such a fuss, you gotta meet the other two.
So let's just run through the lineup. Back in 2017, we spotted the first one ever, ʻOumuamua. It was rocky, weirdly shaped, and it accelerated in a way we couldn't quite explain. Then in 2019, 2I Borisov showed up, which honestly was a bit of a relief to scientists because it looked and acted just like a normal comet. And that brings us to 3I Atlas. It looks like a comet, but its path, man, that's where all the trouble starts.
And that path, that totally weird trajectory, has basically split the scientific community right down the middle. In one corner, you've got a natural, if rare, event. And in the other, well, something else entirely.
So in one corner, you've got the mainstream view. NASA, most astronomers, they've looked at the data and said, yep, it's our third interstellar comet. Super rare, super cool, but totally natural. But in the other corner, you've got this wild paper from a team that includes Harvard scientists, and they're putting forward a pretty radical idea. What if this thing is, well, a piece of tech?
Okay, let's put on our detective hats for a minute. We're going to start with the really wild claim. Why on earth would a team of serious scientists even whisper the word alien technology?
I mean, just listen to how they word this. This isn't some vague, hey, what if suggestion. They are straight up proposing that this thing isn't just a piece of technology, but that it has active intelligence. And they're not just throwing that out there, they say this is a testable idea, and it all comes down to its bizarre flight path.
Right, so this isn't just a gut feeling. It's all based on a bunch of things that statistically just shouldn't be happening all at once. First off, its path is almost perfectly flat, right on the same plane as all our planets. That's weird, really weird. Then it makes these incredibly close passes by 3 specific planets. And get this, it swings closest to the sun when it's perfectly hidden from us, on the opposite side from Earth. How convenient, right? And it's doing all this without really showing the clear signs of outgassing, the rocket-like pushes that would normally explain these kinds of moves.
Okay, so let's look at the evidence. First up, Mars. This chart shows just how close it zips by. We're talking a flyby that is just ridiculously close in the vastness of space.
And then, hold on, because just a month later, it does it again, this time with a Venus. You know, one close flyby could be a fluke, a cosmic coincidence. But 2, back-to-back like that, now you're starting to wonder.
And the tour isn't over yet. This is the kicker. After zipping past the inner planets, it heads out and does a close pass by Jupiter. Jupiter, the biggest planet in our solar system. So you've got Mars, Venus, Jupiter. The researchers are basically saying, does that look random to you? Or does that look like a planned tour?
So they ran the numbers, and the probability, the actual statistical chance of a random object making those 3 specific flybys in that way, it's less than 0.005%. Let that sink in. Not 5%, 0.005%. This single number is really the entire engine behind the alien tech argument. All right. That's a pretty compelling case, but let's pump the brakes. What about the other side of the argument? Remember, most scientists think this is just a comet, so let's open up that case file. First things first, a quick refresher. What exactly is a comet? Think of it as a giant, dirty snowball flying through space. When it gets near the sun, it heats up, and the ice blasts off as gas. This creates that classic glowing head and long tail. And here's the crucial part. That outgassing acts like a tiny, unpredictable rocket engine. It can push the comet around in weird ways. That's the key to the whole mainstream explanation.
And believe me, NASA has its eyes glued to this thing. They're the ones who found it, after all. And when they pointed the Hubble Space Telescope at it, what did they see? Well, it looks like a comet.
It's got a solid core, it's wrapped in this teardrop-shaped cloud of dust, and you can see a coma and a tail. I mean, if it looks like a comet and smells like a comet, you can see why they officially classified it as one.
But, and there's always a but in these stories, right? This is where things get a little messy, and why we even have a debate. While it looks like a comet, some of the data we're getting back is weird. For example, one analysis found it spewing out maybe 1,000 times less water vapor than a famous comet like Hale-Bopp did from the same distance. So the big question is there enough of that rocket engine effect to explain its weird path? Honestly, the jury is still out.
And this is where a lot of people fall back on this old philosophical idea called Occam's razor. Basically, the simplest explanation is probably the best one. And this comment from a Reddit forum just nails the skepticism, right? Think about it. An alien civilization smart enough to cross the vast emptiness between stars, and their probe just tumbles past us like a space rock? To a lot of folks, the comet theory, even with all its unanswered questions, just feels way, way more likely.
So, there you have it. Two completely different stories to explain the same object. Where do we go from here? And how in the world is this mystery actually going to get solved? At the end of the day, it really comes down to this one standoff. The alien tech argument is all about the math. The path just seems too perfect, too deliberate to be a coincidence. But the comet argument has this killer counterpunch. Where's the proof? There's no smoking gun, no radio signals, no heat from an engine, nothing that unequivocally says, I was made by someone.
But here's the coolest part. This isn't ancient history. This is all happening right now. You can see on this timeline all the key dates coming up, where this thing makes its close approaches to the planets. These are our golden opportunities. Our best telescopes, Hubble and the James Webb, are going to be staring it down, collecting every scrap of data they can. The answers could literally be just a few observations away.
So what's the final verdict going to be? Is this a 1 in a billion cosmic fluke that just happens to look incredibly suspicious? Or is it something else? A deliberate flyby from, well, who knows what? We don't have the answer yet, but whatever it is, the next few months are shaping up to be one of the most exciting times in modern astronomy. All we can do for now is keep watching.